Good day and welcome back to Elementary 72 Gaming. Now, just for a little recap, yesterday you saw me setting up part of the foundation. And that part of the foundation is the outer edge. As I said, I'm not going to be able to raise it all the way to the top. But just have a look at how high up it is from sea level. This is the level that my base is at minimum. Because the lowest cut that I could make for the highest point is what determines where all of this goes. And if you look out from here, you can pretty much tell that this is no small drop. And I'll give you an idea of how high it is in a little bit. But nonetheless, you can see that this is a massive base. So let me just show you a little bit of the side, because that is going to be just as important as the rest of it. So some of it could be pulled up by just dragging up some sand and filling in the gaps. Like, see, there's a little hole over here. I'll pull out my tool and there we go, that is full. Now that is going to give some support, it will increase the strength, but I'm not going to keep going at that because that is way too expensive. I've also done it a little bit here in the front where we came up to too close of an edge. But if you look at it, this is a massive wall of foundations. Now I need to move it too forward so that I can set in my first quarter, and I need to move it down all the way till I'm ready to hit my first quarter. But this is no small quarter, remember, this is actually half the length of this entire foundation that I need to go. So I'll just give you a quick recap of how big it is. Okay, so let's start from the corner. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Now at 26 it will make this here 52, but that isn't where we're going to go. We are going to stop at 58 to have the halfway point, and on the 58th block will be the doorway that enters into this quarter. Now the one thing that is to note about it is, once this is up, the only way for me to get down is going to be to go all the way around the entire base. So it is not going to be an easy trek up and down. And as you can see, there's tons of resources still all over the place. I've still got a ton of trees to cut down. And this is no small base. This is a huge base. As you can see, I'm still setting up the outer wall. I don't have to worry about this at the moment. If you look over the edge, you can see why. It's way too high for any enemy to scale, and I only have to worry about brutes and shamans. So there you go. Now this is just one of the rooms, and they will have a total stretch of 16. So 16 across. This is no joke. Wait, yeah. 56 divided by 4. No. 14. Sorry, yeah, 14 across. I made that mistake. I was going to go for 64 wide for a little bit, but I ended up changing that order. Now, if you look at this room is literally how big each of the rooms are going to be. That means it has to be reinforced with metal beams. So once all of that is in, this is going to be an even more spectacular quarter structure. Obviously, I have a habit of building it by one square space at a time. Obviously, this isn't going to be done in a day. This is going to take weeks to complete because there's mining that still has to be done. I only have about 100 spare metal. I'm going to need something near 20 to 30,000. No, not 20 to 30,000. Something closer to 2,000 metal to reinforce the next level of the structure. And that is just to make sure that the rooms and the passageways are stable. The roof is going to take its own total amount of metal because even the roof structures that lead up to the pinnacles are going to need reinforcement. This base is huge. This isn't going to be like any other base I've made. Thatch roof or not, it's going to take forever to put it together, and it's going to need metal reinforcement inside. So there's going to be metal rings on certain levels to actually give it some structure. And that is going to be a massive thing because I'm going to have to line the rim of each wall on the inside. Then I'm going to have to pull that rim in and push this to the center. The outside of those walls will have the small one brick that I always lay on the outside so I have a grip when I fall down from the roof. But this is going to be a huge castle. It's going to be a standard blocks shape. I'm not going to change it. The outside is so huge, you could do whatever you wanted in here. If you just look at it, this is so huge, it's equal to some of my rooms in my base. If someone had to cultivate this and use it for a farm, they'd have endless supplies. That's how big this outer section is. If I remove just some of these stone and left this here as an open passageway, it would be one of the best open passageways you could ever have for a base. That's how huge this place is. Now, overall, this base is just a big showcase. That's all that it's about. It's about showing you how to push yourself to the maximum. And it's something that every game has. Example arc, you can go till you reach that structure limit where it tells you are at 500 or 500 structures per distance. And that's when you have saturated to the maximum. No more structures are allowed within that space. That's how you know you've built the very best base. And the smaller that base is that you've reached that maximum on, the better it is in terms of how much of effort you've put. Now, I'm not going for a small base with the maximum because this game doesn't have a maximum structure limit. This game has a reinforcement limit. So even though I'm putting in these basic beams, which is going to go one by one across, it's going to make the roof very, very unstable. 7 by 7 is quite a big roof, regardless of anything that goes with this. But the one thing that's going to flow with the idea of this base is that every floor is going to be very special. Now, I'm going to have to come back here and put in a few items, but each room will have a purpose. This is the first of 2 bases to be built like this. So if you thought that this is going to be crazy, well, it is, but it isn't even a lot. Now, if you look at the edge, it enters into a cove on the water. Now, that cove is going to be converted. Actually, this is the direction of the cove that I want to convert right here. So that cove is going to be converted into a dock. Now, converting it into a dock isn't going to be very simple. I'm going to have to bring the 2 sides down, push in a whole lot of foundations into the water, and give a nice landing for the boats. So when the tide goes down, the boats will actually get stuck on the rocks, on the stuff that I have. And if they come in at high tide, they'll get stuck on the rocks nonetheless, the foundations. And that's what I want. I want to have that perfectly narrow cut positioning for long boats. And this whole dock needs to hold 4 long boats by the end. So yes, I am going absolutely crazy. My original idea was to go 8. Then I decided, why don't I go 10? And I thought to myself, 10 is a big figure, but it's nothing that special. I can do 10 anytime. 10 is only a 5 across when you put in the metal structure in the center, and that holds it like a standard base. But wait, what if I went a little bit more crazy with the base? What if I stretched it to the very limits? Now at 14, I actually have to break up the inside section by 3 in order for reinforcement. The maximum I know I can support the roof on is 6. So 6 by 6 by 6, that gives me 18. That's what I could do at the very largest just to hold the roof up. But then I can't build a second floor on it. So I had to reduce it. So obviously reducing the 18 down, I would have thought of 16, but then I said no, that's a bit too fast still. I'm still pushing it to that little limit. 1 is going to be red. And I came all the way down to 14 as a limit. When you divide it by 3, you don't get a perfect number, but you get 4 point something, which means in between this room, I'm going to be able to set one of these these structural posts in the right spot, pull it up to the roof, pull it across the roof, so that I have a perfect intersection at the right points. And it's going to cut the roof down by quite a big difference. So when you work it out into 14 divided by 3, you are left with a 0.2. And when 3 goes into 0.2, you're going to get 6, 6, 6, 6, 6 recurring. So it leaves it at 3.6. So, sorry, not 3.6, 4.6 recurring. That'll mean that you basically have a 5 limit to each one. So when I get to the 4.5 mark on each one, you'll see 4.5, 4.5, and the 1 will be a 5 by 5. Now 5 by 5 takes me all the way back to my first base, which worked perfectly. the roof didn't even turn that bad. I only had an orange sector in the center, no red sectors. And the moment the metal reinforcement goes on the next floor, I'm going to end up with the exact same thing. That means the top floor will have red in the center, but that is just going to be fine. The center of the roof is red, the sides won't be red. Now to cover up on the inside, I'm going to have to put pillars. And I can put stone pillars or I can put wooden pillars. Makes no difference to what I'm putting inside the base. There's going to be the steel pillars that will go around everywhere, but whatever I do, I have to make those pillars look extra thick and extra strong. I have to make them look like that. I don't really have to. And it's quite a simple agenda. Once all of this is in, this base will be able to smelt more than any other base. And if you want to know why, I'll just drop down in here. This 4 can be used for one smelter. And if you count it going down, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 smelters on a wall. So 7 smelters is a massive amount. When it comes to the kilns, I think I can also do 7 in here. And there's still plenty of excess room inside this room to do even more. Plus there's a central region where nothing is going to touch, where I can put in storage. So big chests with the reinforcement and everything in the center, nice big pillar, push everything around it, and I've got a nice solid foundation. Once everything is in, there's going to be 4 sections with storage on them, and in the center will be nothing. It's just going to be a big empty space, dead center of all 4 of them. I'm just going to throw in a double fire or something with a single access to it from one of the sides. I'm going to work on it so that it looks really, really fun. And that is the whole idea. I want this base to be phenomenal. Now, the bottom floor might not have the kilns. Just to be honest, I might put it on the second floor. The simple reason is, if they hit the roof, they're going to send smoke right through. And one of the rooms is going to have the blast furnace in it. And the blast furnace is a very tall structure. I might push that into the center of the room instead of on the sides. And as many as I can put, it's going to really push the limits of where the space is going to be. And once everything is in, there's going to be a proper crafting room, so I can repair my gear at this base. Anybody can use it. There's going to be a proper cooking room. There'll be several cooking pots, several brewers. Everything is going to be set up so that everybody can just jump in and jump out, getting everything done as fast as possible. So that is the idea behind this killer size base. I know that I'm a little bit too ecstatic about making something this large, but that's the thing. As I said, it's all about testing your limit and going to the next level. Now obviously this base is far from done. As you can tell, this wall only goes 3, while this wall goes way past 7. If you count, here's 1, here's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then there'll be 9, and that next one might just have the 10th. But nonetheless, that's exactly where it's meant to go. It's going to be helping me reach the central point of this base. Once that is in, I've finished the first quarter. When the second quarter is done, that will be half the mirror image of the space. I'm actually thinking of going straight down to the water with this one. So it's going to hit the ocean. And on the one side, it's just going to be a massive wall against the ocean. The water will rise on it and fall on it. Nothing is going to be able to enter. Anything that attacks the base is most likely going to attack foundations. Kind of pointless, but nonetheless, I might just put up some walls along the edge to cover it up and build a double wall on the inside. It gives me a little bit of a hint that something is wrong, and I might remove the wall from where it is right now if I do that. So the outer wall might disappear and I might have even more room in the center. The center is exactly 6 here once the wall is added into the whole experiment. And as you can tell, that's as big as my last base. So yeah, this is insane. I'm pushing it to the limit, but I'm pushing it with actual mining. As you can see, my tools are half broken already. And this is Havoc server, so this is already a massive community server, and I'm just making things more crazy on it overall. Oh yeah, and if you want to get another idea of how far away the other end is, let me just run to the edge here and just show you where it is. If you look down this, that end is where the space is going to end. I've always wanted to go crazy with the size. And let's see if I can show you from here where the end is. If you look from the top here, you'll see that there's a carved entranceway to the water. That is one of the other ends. Now I can turn this little cove into another docking port for maybe calves. I might do it. It's just going to be a little bit of extra work right at the end. Right now, if I take a drop off this edge, I'll die instantly. It's way too high for anybody to survive, even if you've eaten full food. It's huge. That is just to say, this is an insane base. And if you're looking at my stamina, I can't really run through everything. So let's just have a quick count on the foundations. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right, that's 9. One more to here, that's 10. Dropping by 2, that's 12. This is still at 12. This here drops by 2. That makes it 14. This drops by 2 again. 14 dropping by 2 is where it's getting even more crazy. Wait, I'm missing that figure. 16. Continue down. This is still at 16. 16 foundations up. That is how tall that building is going to be in the end. So you can imagine this is going to be all the way up in the air above where the trees are for most of these trees. And as I said, I can turn this into a little cove for calves because that is the perfect launching point for a calf. And this cove over here is going to be turned into a bigger launching point for another set of boats, and that is going to be fantastic because with everything launching from this point, it's going to be perfect because, okay, sorry about the lag. If you look straight on this direction, regularly you will see Havoc's lighthouse spawn in at one point or the other, and that is just a show of how big the distance is on using this map. Okay, wait, let me just go to that side so that it spawns in. There we go. That is the top of the lighthouse, and it just spawned in here basically at the edge of my base. So from the lighthouse he'll be able to see the edge of my base, and from my base I'll be able to see the lighthouse. Plus this is going to be one of 2 mega castles that are built by me. There is one mega castle built by Phoenix. If you go through some of my Valheim videos, you'll find there's a ton of links to other content creators. Phoenix is listed on there. He has a fantastic build going down on the other side. So once both the castles are up, I might try and get Phoenix on to just give a quick show of his castle, because obviously showing off the 2 castles is going to be a fantastic show of workmanship. Even if it is competitive by some ratio of my own mind, it still is going to be absolute fun to have a look at all of this that we've done. Now, setting up this cove isn't going to be as simple as just digging it out. I'm going to have to find a way to get in and get rid of those rocks. It's going to be a heavy situation. We're going to have to figure out something around it. Getting them out is going to be just as important as moving around. So I might use one of the tricks I've learned with stone foundations and push myself into the ground with them. Okay, let me get rid of this. Now, I am intentionally leaving them to the wolves. It makes things a lot easier for me if I don't have to concentrate on them and I can just continue mining wherever I am. I might even have to cut some of this out just to make sure that the cove works properly. So yeah, that's going to be another tricky section to this entire cove. But as I said, it's all about enjoying this build. Getting to do all the crazy things that I want to do. Because even if you look at it like this, just building these crazy structures out in the middle of nowhere is something spectacular. It's not something that everybody will do. It's not something that you can do in every single map. Some maps don't allow it because they aren't flat enough, or they aren't open enough with water. Like my map, I most definitely could build this way easier because of certain areas having that direct sea access. But then again, it's a massive structure to build. It's going to take a huge amount of time. Oh, here's it. Perfect. What I wanted. Bye bye, dear. I really wish these were 2-star wolves, to be honest. It would be a lot more fun to have a ton of 2-star wolves running around. Just for the sake of them being 2-star, obviously. I just remember the lesson I learned yesterday. Do not stay too far away from them. And I also know not to get stuck inside there. See how much I've picked up. Not much. I'm getting myself killed here. Let me just eat another one of those cloudberries. Have a look at how much I have in stacks here. I'm okay to start building a little bit more, but there's a lot to build. And even with something like this is like nothing. I'm only sitting near the wolves because it's nighttime at the moment. Wait, let me just take out this corner. Pretty simple why it got the corner. If there is no corner, there is nothing to trap me inside. As you can see, it's a straight little line over there now. Just need to peel off a little bit more. No matter what attacks, there's so many wolves here that it's gonna be an instant kill for the wolves. As you can see, they're quite strong. they do die from time to time, and then I'll just pick up some wolf pelt here and there. Actually need some of that. Just look at this. May not seem all that crazy to you, but this is a lot of farming to do regardless. It's a lot of raising to do on this foundation, as you can tell. And pulling it up and closing it up wherever it's needed is not an easy task. As much as I'd like to say this is very simple to do, this isn't the simplest thing to do when it comes to playing the game. Building these super bases do have their complications. Like you have to do careful calculation on where to put things, because if I mess up, if I decide to go with 4-4-5, then things are gonna go all wrong. But if I go 4.5, 4.5, 5, am I getting what I want? Yes, I am. 4.5 plus 4.5 is 9, and then 5 is a total of what I need for the center. And yeah, we've got it. We've got 14. So there we go, quick and easy. Is the roof going to be perfect? Do I have an odd or even number? Is each side going to be able to balance? Yes, I have a perfect odd number on each side, 7 by 7. The last column is going to join. It's not going to be hanging. So yeah, I'm not worried about my roof. Let me just close up this part of the wall. There we go. This is how all my bases start off. And then obviously the next thing which goes on is when I start pulling up to the second floor. Unfortunately, this building will not be going up to its second floor now. It's going to be impossible. And it's not impossible because of some weird little reason I can give. It's impossible because, quite frankly, pulling up the next level requires the metal. And the metal requires the complete room diameter or parameter. And I need to at least reach the halfway point so that the second part is ready. And then I need to put in all of those foundations and structures and everything in. Once all of it is in, it will be a different story. The 5 is always going to be the center of the room, not the outsides of the room. It's quite simple. I need the strongest structures on the edges. I need the weakest structures on the center. So it will be 4 by 4 on the two edges, 5 in the center, which is no problem, and then a solid 5 right dead center of the room. So that is going to make the difference in everything. So if I had to go and outline it, it's going to go like this here: 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll do something like this, and then I'll put the pillar support along the edge here, like if it was against the corner of this. And that is going to be how I'm going to get where my pillar supports go. Obviously, I could do something simpler and just put in one of these right now. This would allow me to just come in here, put in the metal beam, and everything will be up. It's isolating everything from the start, and you can see the 5. And if I go from the other side, I'll have to count exactly like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5. And if you count the inner section, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and the half plus half makes it 5. So that's how come I said 5 will be supported like this. And if you count it, you're going to have an exact replica of the roof on the bottom. So nothing is going to be taken off. And I'm going to do the same going on the other direction. So it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5. There we go. I'm just doing this for fun right now. I'm going to be taking them down. I don't even know why it's hitting me to do this, but I'm just going to show you. So each section is cordoned off into one of these small things basically. And around these points is where the central structure is going to start to get its supports and so forth into it. There we go. That's how it's going to look. Crazy enough, but it's going to be functional. It's going to be useful. Actually, this looks very nice. I might just keep some of these pillars in just for the look of it. It looks very castle-like. And as you can see, each little quarter is so big and so spacious. Nobody's really going to notice that they're different sizes from each other. Actually, more impressed than I thought it would be. To be impressed with this. But obviously, I can't build the roof on it still. As I said, it's too difficult. And even if I ran something up, it's not going to go correct. Let me start with... No, I can't do it. Just thinking about it. Even if I reach the edge here, I'm nowhere near the halfway point. The halfway point is literally where the door goes in, and then I'm gonna have to pull the staircase out. The staircase should be somewhere here. How much stone do I have left? Quite a bit. Let's go around and let's start. Okay, now I'm going to have to pull the structure building materials to the side. And yeah, that's just going to be about it. I'm just going to put on these pillars right now. So yeah, this is my mega base. This is Elementary 72 signing out from the mega base on Valheim on the Havoc cluster. So I will see you all in the next one. I hope that you all do have a good time. And I'll catch you all in the next episode when the space is most likely a quarter expanding to its half. So see you all then and have a good